Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Butt Fumble Sports Show. It's so wonderful to be with you on this Monday. I hope you had the most amazing weekend. I hope the tournament treated you well. I'm assuming many of your brackets are actually in good shape. We had a phenomenal run of favorites winning. We'll talk about what that really meant in terms of the narrative around the NCAA tournament. But of course, we're here for you guys here today to talk sports betting for tonight's action, talk about what's going on across the sports world, whatever you guys want to cover on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. We are live across all of these platforms, as well as now on X. We're now live on Twitter, on X as well, Twitter, X. So if you guys have a question, a comment, if you guys want to get some advice for anything, this Monday show, I really want to turn it over to you. We've been off the air for a couple of days, so rather than go through our normal research in a very routine kind of way, I wanted to open it up to you. What were some of the topics you wanted to cover? NCAA tournament, NBA playoffs just around the corner, NFL news. For a number of you, you may be aware, the NFL win totals came out today on DraftKings, so maybe that's something you guys care about. But I really wanted to turn this show over to the audience. It's been a minute since we've been live. It's just because I've been, one, traveling, and two, because with the NCAA tournament, I just really wanted to watch the games with a lot of friends at sports bars, getting as many wings as I could as people were putting up shots and putting up a lot of bets. So appreciate you guys coming back to the show. If you guys do have any questions, fire away. We are going to be doing our research today, obviously giving out picks, so make sure that you obviously join us throughout the entirety of the show. But I want to open it up to you guys. 10 Speed P has a question. He's going, or giving out his picks. 10 Speed P is saying Blues Kings money line. Interesting about that, looking at the hockey game, I did my research a little bit earlier in the day. I like the Blues a lot. The Blues is one I would take. Blues. I'm going to dive into this game. You'll see I took it plus 1.5. But let me dive into that game since it's the first thing that's being mentioned by 10 Speed P. So Golden Knights, Blues. How's the public coming down on this? Interestingly enough, the tickets are coming down on the Golden Knights. 68% of the tickets being bet on this game are on the Knights to win, but 83% of the money is on the Blues. Going into some of our trends, I'm going over to killersports.com, one of the websites that we use to do all of our research every single day. Appreciate you guys being with us as I pull this up. Looking at this season, I just want to look at how the Blues have done against an opponent with an average win percentage that is above 500. And when they've been a home underdog in that situation, they've gone 8-7 straight up, 7-1. How have they been as a home underdog of late? They've won 4 of their last 5 games at home as an underdog. I also want to look at this. When the total has been 6, they've won their last 2, 3 of their last 4, 4 of their last 6 games under that scenario. That's the situation that it is tonight. Let's switch it around. Let's look at the Golden Knights. When they've been an away favorite with a total of 6 goals. Let's just look at that to start. We're just looking at trends, trying to find something. We see a great trend here in terms of the Golden Knights have really struggled when they faced an opponent total of 6 goals, and they've been a road favorite. You can see they're actually cashing more on the bet against side. Let's just take a look at how they've done when their opponent has an average win percentage of above 500, like the Blues do. Just 2-4. That's part of it. The Golden Knights have not been a very good team on the road against good teams when they've been favored. So with that said, I like the Blues to cover tonight. Blues plus 1.5. That's where I come out on that 10 Speed P. But you are up to something. Blues on the money line for those that want to take a little bit of the extra risk, but also get a better return. Blues on the money line could cash tonight, so I love where your thinking's at. Diego, Iowa women, minus 15 should be a good cover. I don't have any data on that. The websites that I use don't have women's basketball. Maybe killersports.com does. No, it just has men's. Pretty sexist. But that being said, I don't have any good data on it. I did post something on my Instagram story, Diego, that we've noticed not just in the men's tournament, but the women's tournament, the favorite has continued to win. However, for the women's tournament, the underdog has done a good job of covering. It's almost a 500 record, so be aware of that. Rob the one, Suns on the money line. Let's go switch it over to the NBA again. I'm letting you guys kind of dictate the show. If you guys have a question on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, X, feel free to fire away. We're going to do our research for you guys throughout the course of the show. We're looking at the Suns on the money line, and they're an away favorite in this game. And one of the things I wanted to look at is when they're an away favorite against an opponent who has an average win percentage that is below 500. and 5 straight up. If we narrow that down as well, so the game tonight, 1-1. Let's look at when the line is greater than -12. -10. Oh, that's because I forgot the M. When the Suns have had a double-digit spread in their favor against a team with a sub-500 winning percentage, we're really diving into some trends right now. We're diving into some data. So if you missed something that I said, please hit me up. I want to make sure I'm answering it. But when the Suns have been an away favorite by at least 10 points against an opponent that has a below 500 record, they've gone 4-0 straight up. They're 3-1 against the spread. The over has gone 3-1 as well. We're really diving into the data here. Hey, new here. Great to have you with us. We talk sports every single day. What sports do you do? MLB, NFL, college basketball, college football. We also do the NHL. So really we cover as much as we can. We look at data, trends, analytics, and we love to just talk sports as well. I will say that we've been hit up about a couple of picks so far. Suns on the money line we do like. I could also see the Suns covering, so that may be something you're interested in as well. If we go on over to Outlier and we look at how the Suns are projected to do, 12.5 isn't great, but I could see the Suns covering if you took it at like an 8.5. But that said, I do like Suns on the money line. Feels like a very good play. No Wembanyama. No Wembanyama. Someone's telling me that Wembanyama's been ruled out. Let's look at the injury report for that game. Wembanyama has been ruled out. Very interesting. That is a big development. Certainly impacts some of the bets that we'll have on tonight's game. We like Suns on the money line even more then. I open TikTok in your live. It's the first thing. Awesome. Appreciate you being with us. Rob the one. Boston on the money line. I love the Celtics tonight as well. Celtics are a road favorite against the Hawks. Almost the exact same scenario that we just looked at with the Suns when they've been a road favorite of at least 10 points against a sub-500 team with a winning percentage. Celtics have gone 7-0. At no point this year have they failed to win. They've also done a good job of covering the spread in this scenario. 5-2 against the spread. Again, let me repeat that in case you missed it. When the Celtics have been a road favorite by at least 10 points against an opponent who has a sub-500 record, they have gone 7-0 straight up, 5-2 against the spread. So just a really good trend based on the data. Hope you guys are hitting that tail button. Hope you're hitting that follow button. Hope you're watching, because I feel like these are actually some really good bets. I went through the trends like I do every single day a little bit earlier, and we went through a lot of the winning percentage bets. I feel like that's a great angle. I haven't been doing that enough. I feel like too often I look at the matchups between the two teams historically. That's not a great one, but it's how have they done against lesser opponents, better opponents, as a home favorite, a road underdog, whatever the scenario may be, but try to really drill down into those. Diego, A&M found holes in Houston. I expect Duke to watch the game over and over, and Duke money line. Interesting, Diego. I don't feel the same way. Suns to cover. I like the take. What thing Boston today? I don't know what you're talking about, but Celtics on the money line is what we were just talking about. I don't know why, but the Pacers on the money line. Rob the one, I don't feel the way that you do. By the way, if you're watching over on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, X, feel free to put your questions in the comment section. We'll get to as many as we can to just help you guys out with your sports bets today. So, looking at the Clippers, they are a home favorite. They're facing an opponent, obviously, who does have a good winning percentage. And I believe they're like a 4.5-point favorite. It's 5.5. So Clippers have been really struggling of late under this scenario, but there actually was another trend in doing my research that I found earlier today about the Clippers that was that kind of perfect trend that we kind of want to follow, which is when they have an opponent on 0 days of rest, they have gone 8-1 straight up, 7-2 against the spread. That's when the Clippers' opponent has 0 days of rest like the Pacers do. How about when the Clippers have 0 days of rest? They played yesterday, by the way, terrible performance. But when the Clippers are on the second day of a back-to-back as a home favorite, they're 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread. So just looking at the trends, Clippers on the money line is actually a bet that I really like tonight. I'm putting that one up on my big board. I really like Clippers on the money line. I actually have some cover plays in these as well. I should have mentioned earlier, I do like the Celtics to cover at -8.5, -9.5. Additionally, thanks IP Shade 45, I also like the Clippers to cover. I like Clippers -3.5. Now, I lost with them yesterday. Frustrated about it. I thought, should I avoid them today because they burned me yesterday? But the trends that I just showed you are so strong in their favor. The Clippers played an early game yesterday. It was the equivalent of a 12 o'clock game on a Sunday for the Clippers. I'm not surprised that they ended up losing to an East Coast team. That said, I think the Clippers bounce back tonight. I think they beat the Pacers. Really quick, let's just look at how the Pacers have done as a road underdog on 0 days of rest. Pacers on the second day of a back-to-back as a road underdog, 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread. They've also hit the under 3 times in a row. You may want to consider the under for this game. Really quick, just going over to Outlier to see how the public is betting this one. Pacers, Clippers. 57% of the tickets is on the Pacers to win, 43% on the Clippers. So interesting. The public kind of like the Pacers to win, like you do, Rob the one. However, 61% of the tickets are on the Clippers to cover the spread. 99% of the money is on the Clippers to cover the spread. So you guys know I like to follow the money. What I love even more is that all the trends back that. I think Clippers are going to cover a 3.5, maybe at a 4-point spread. If you wanted to take it at 5.5, I wouldn't talk you out of it. Clippers on the money line. So I feel differently about that one, Rob the one. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you guys are watching on any platform right now, obviously hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, all that jazz. But throw in your questions. We love hearing from you guys. Okay, over 224.5 for the Trailblazers and the Rockets. Not a bet that I was really into, to be honest. I'll tell you what the public is betting on that one, just to see. 75% of the tickets are on the over. I'm just not crazy about it. There's a lot of reasons to kind of like not be excited about that game. Injury report for that one. DeAndre Ayton, game time decision. Jeremy Grant, game time decision. Thibault is a game time decision as well. Jabari Smith is out with suspension. So a couple of the names that are out for that game. It's just not a game that I'm really excited about betting, to be honest with you. I do have the Rockets on the money line. That they are playing some great basketball of late, but I'm just not crazy about the total. So it's interesting that that's where you were looking at it. I'm not going with it either way. The trends, the data that I looked at earlier today wasn't really in support of it. Let's just take a look at the Rockets really quick. When they face an opponent with a below 500 record, and they're a home favorite. The over's gone 9-6. The over's hit in 5 of the last 6 games. They've covered in almost every one of those, won and covered. I really like the Rockets on the money line. That's an easy one for me. but I'm not really crazy about the total. I'm actually kind of interested in the Rockets covering that. Let's get back to that. Rockets could cover this game. Only issue I have is the only time over the last, let's say, 2.5, 3 months, that the Rockets have lost and failed to cover the spread as a home favorite against a below 500 team was against the Trailblazers. It happened on January 24th. The Trailblazers ended up pulling off a 137-131 win over the Houston Rockets. Something tells me the Rockets haven't forgotten that loss, so that's actually one of the reasons I really like the Rockets in this game. I could also see the Rockets covering, to be honest. It's set at 13.5. I don't really like that. If I were to take it anywhere, Rockets at like plus 9.5, I'd be willing to take, but that's if you're just, minus 9.5. If that's just you're looking for a spread, I'm not crazy about the spread, though I did throw the money line in there on a number of parlays. Carlos, what is your best take of the day? I really like all the bets we're giving out. So a real quick recap of the bets we've given out so far. I like Blues plus 1.5. I like Suns on the money line. Celtics on the money line. I also like the Celtics minus 8.5, minus 9.5. Clippers on the money line. Clippers minus 3.5. Rockets on the money line. And Rockets minus 9.5 if you ask me for a spread in that game. When I mentioned the Suns, Celtics, Clippers, and Rockets on the money line, I've put them into parlays for today. You don't have to do that, but maybe putting 2, 3 of them into a parlay is worth it to you. Diego Mayo stated the drafting of a QB at 3 is a priority. What QB you feeling for the Pats? So there's been so much talk about J.J. McCarthy right now. I think he's the smokescreen of this draft. I do think someone's going to trade up to get him, but I think Drake May is going to go to the Patriots. I think the Patriots are settling in to selecting Drake May. I don't think they're going to move back. The only way I could see them moving back is if all of a sudden someone makes a Godfather-like offer and it goes beyond just 2 picks in this draft, Viking style, 2 picks in this first round, a first pick next year. If the Vikings went even further, maybe they could get that number 3 pick. But I think the Patriots are going to draft Drake May. My expectations is it's going to be a little bit boring, actually, with the first 3 picks. It'll go Caleb Williams. It'll go Jaden Daniels to Washington. It'll go Drake May to the Patriots. And then I think all hell could break loose because I think the Arizona Cardinals right now, as much as they really do like Marvin Harrison Jr., I think they're aware that there are a number of wide receivers in this draft that are elite, maybe not to his level, but they could get a lot of draft capital out of moving out of 4. So that's what I would do. If any of you guys did see the NFL team win totals today and you want to talk about it, hit me up. I would love to hear what you guys think. The Patriots, 4.5 projected wins. 4.5 wins is the win total right now set for the New England Patriots. That is the lowest in the NFL. How the mighty have fallen. Pretty crazy. If you guys have questions, comments, if there's anything you guys want to talk about, hit us up. Blues on the money line, we mentioned it earlier. I'm taking Blues plus 1.5, but I could see them actually hitting on the money line as well. Ravens win it all next year. I love what the Ravens have done in terms of addressing certain aspects of their team dynamic, but to me, I actually think the loss of Odell Beckham Jr. impacts them. They're going to need to get another wide receiver in the draft. Good thing for them. Plenty of good wide receivers. Nuggets to cover. That's a great question. Nuggets to cover is going to be the next game that we focus on. Really quick, right now, Grizzlies-Nuggets has a 14.5 point spread. 82% of the tickets are on the Nuggets to win. No surprise there. The Grizzlies are getting a lot of love as an underdog. 69% of the tickets are on them to cover the spread. 67% of the money is on the Grizzlies to cover the spread. Let's look at the injury report really quickly. Luke Kennard is out for personal reasons. Brandon Clark is a game-time decision. Desmond Bane, a game-time decision as well. Aaron Gordon is a game-time decision. Jamal Murray, game-time decision. Nikola Jokic is a game-time decision. This has me nervous already. Big, I'd be cautious about this because you're going to have to wait right up until you get the injury report locked in. Once we know who's playing, you can get a better sense of things. But for the moment, I'd be a little bit cautious. Let's look at some of the data behind it, though. When the Nuggets have been a home favorite and they're playing an opponent with an average win percentage below 500, that's what we've been looking at a lot today. They have gone 12-1 straight up. Nuggets have been a dominant team at home. I would add that to our growing list of teams that I like in a parlay, which is Nuggets on the money line. There are a number of home favorites tonight that I really like. Number of favorites overall that I really like tonight, but in parlays of 2, 3, maybe 4 games at the most. But Nuggets on the money line's a little bit dicey for me, in part because we are in that who's going to play situation. Now, Nuggets have actually covered, they've only covered in 2 of their last 3 games against a sub 500 team at home as a favorite. How about below 400? Yeah, still not great. They're 11-0 straight up. So Nuggets on the money line is something we love. Nuggets on the money line we feel very good about. But there's some reason to be cautious. That said, the over's been a pretty good trend in this. Let's just flip it around now. Let's look at how the Grizzlies have done as a road underdog when they faced an opponent who has the kind of winning percentage the Nuggets do. So above 600. Let's put it there. Oof. The Grizzlies have gone 1-8 straight up. So just based on the trends, Nuggets on the money line probably has to be one of our favorite bets of the night. Not surprised there, given they're a heavy favorite. As for the spread, though, it's all about the injury report. For the moment, I would say Nuggets can cover a 9.5 point spread. 14.5, I just don't love it. Just not one that I'm crazy about. But definitely a game that I would add to some parlays, as Nuggets on the money line is a phenomenal play. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Feel free to throw your questions in there. Micah is asking about Claxton under 11.5 rebounds. Let's go take a look at that. A player prop bet question for you guys. We're a half hour into the show. I decided this Monday is going to be about answering your questions rather than doing our normal routine where I just go through every game one by one. I decided I'd mix it up and actually give you guys the opportunity to decide what you guys care about. We're going to focus on your questions throughout the entirety of the show. I will be giving out the picks that I researched earlier, so you don't have to worry. You're not going to miss any of those. Nick Claxton, very interesting here. The trend suggests the under's a very good play. The under is cashed in 9 out of the last 10 games. However, here's the issue. He's facing a defense that's very bad against centers when it comes to rebounds. The Raptors are 24th in the league in rebounds allowed to centers. So I actually think Nick Claxton could have a good game. I understand that the trend supports the under. The trend really supports the under. The under's hit in 17 of the last 20 games. So I'm just nervous about it, to be honest, Mike. I think it's a great trend, but I'm actually kind of nervous just based on the matchup. I feel like that one is due to break, so I'd actually avoid it if I could. Diego, Cowgirls under 10 wins. I think that's a good call. I think the Dallas Cowboys reaching 10 wins feels like a little bit high right now. I could see them going 9-8. The only reason I'm not going to bet those team totals just yet is I do want to see what the schedule sequence is going to be. Who do they have coming off a bye? Who do they have after that Thursday game? Just kind of the pattern of the season impacts, the matchups a little bit. But I am excited. Interestingly enough, the Washington Commanders were not getting a lot of love with the win total. I think they were also with the Patriots at the bottom at 4.5. Jaden Daniels, they made some nice additions. Do you think Dan Quinn could get them to 5 wins? One team that I actually was really caught by, I think the Tennessee Titans have a win total of 5.5. That feels low to me. I feel like the Tennessee Titans have made a lot of good additions. Snead, Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley. They have a young quarterback in Will Levis. They're in a good division, but not a juggernaut division. Could I see the Texans taking a step back? Yes. Could I see the Colts continue to have growing pains? Yes. Do I know what the Jaguars are? Not anymore. I thought I did, but last year they really disappointed me down the home stretch. So I actually think the Tennessee Titans over 5.5 wins could be an interesting one. Keep your eye on that for an NFL win total play. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you're joining us. We're live as often as we can be on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and now on Twitter as well. Someone's asking about Jaden Ivey on points. Let's take a look at Jaden Ivey's point total. Again, this is going to be a research day for all you folks out there. Right now, his point total is set at 17.5. Opened at 18.5. Came down to 14.5 and has since climbed back up. So clearly some early money did not like that 18.5. Very interesting there. He's got a brutal matchup. The Knicks are the third best defense in the league against shooting guards. Head-to-head, he's only gone over 17.5 one time in his last 5 games against the New York Knicks. If I look at it on the road, he's 0 for 4 in terms of hitting the over. So user 98, I tend to lean towards the under actually on this one. Under for Jaden Ivey. Right now, I take under 18.5, play it a little bit safe. Maybe the injury report, there's reason. Oh, Cade Cunningham is out. That's why. Cade Cunningham has been ruled out. By the way, surprise, surprise for all you folks out there. I like Knicks on the money line. You can fold that into some of our parlays. But that said, let's take a look at how Jaden Ivey has done when he hasn't had Cade Cunningham in the lineup. Maybe that's one of the reasons we like the point total now. It has been a much better trend. Wow. When Cade Cunningham's not in the lineup, it is night and day. So if I get Jaden Ivey over 16.5 points, he has gone over 16.5 points in 8 of his last 10 games without Cade Cunningham on the road. Certainly makes a major difference. That said, the 2 times he missed it were against the Bulls and the Orlando Magic, 2 teams that are really good against shooting guards. Same scenario as the Knicks. Personally, I kind of buy both sides of this. I don't think he gets to 7. I don't think he necessarily gets to 17 or 18, so I'd go under 18.5. But I could also see him going over 14.5. So I'm kind of split in the middle, but personally, I'm not going to bet this one, in part because it's going both ways. But the absence of Cade Cunningham certainly makes it a much more attractive bet than it would have been otherwise. Rob the One's asking about the Mavs game. I like the Mavericks on the money line. I'm putting that up there on the big board so you guys can see it right away. But let me show you guys why. So the Mavericks, they're an away favorite for this one against the Utah Jazz. Let's just see how they've done against teams with a below 400 record. So the Jazz, bad team this year. Mavericks have gone 10-2 straight up against sub 400 teams. Sorry. Oh, it's not quite that. Wow, I'm kind of interested. Jazz have a slightly better record than I thought. Let's take a look at when they're... I kind of want to see what the winning percentage is when it's between 500 and 400. Interesting. So when the Mavericks have played a team with a winning percentage between 400 and 500, they've only gone 3-2, straight up 3-2 against the spread. They failed to win and cover in the same 2 games. One of those was against the Utah Jazz on January 1st. Now, I do like the Mavericks on the money line, but I was just looking for an opportunity maybe when it comes to the spread. Let's take a look at the injury report really quickly on that one. Mavericks and Utah Jazz. How is the public betting this game before we get to the injury report? 90% of the tickets are on the Mavericks to win. 87% of the tickets are on the Mavericks to cover the 7.5 point spread. 95% of the money is on the Dallas Mavericks to cover the spread in this game. So they are a very, very heavy favorite. Honda, do you ever play first quarter point props? I really don't, in part because so many things can kind of get out of control. I usually like to take game-long totals as opposed to individual quarters or halves. That said, let's take a look at the injury report for Mavericks and Utah Jazz really quickly. Josh Green out, right ankle sprain. Max Kleber, right knee soreness is a game-time decision. Chris Dunn is out for his involvement in that fighting skirmish that the Jazz had. He has been suspended. So that's the injury report. For me, I'm taking Mavericks on the money line. I'm not going much farther than that. Let's take a quick look at how the Jazz have done as a home underdog against teams with an above 500 winning percentage. They've lost their last 5 straight, failing to cover in all 5. 6 of their last 7 lost and failed to cover. Kind of interesting there. If I narrow the sample size here, cut the date down from the start of the new year, since the start of 2024, 3-6 straight up, 3-6 against the spread. Under's been a good play, by the way, also at 6-3. So I'm kind of interested by that. I would take the Mavericks, but I wouldn't go much farther than that. Mavericks on the money line. If you want to take them to cover, try to get it closer to like 4.5, maybe 5.5. Suns, Beal over 15 points. Let's take a look at it. Appreciate you guys joining us. If you guys have a question, feel free to fire away. This is a question show. I also do want to mention we're going to do something different in a little bit. We're going to do best ball betting, best ball leagues, if you guys know that, for baseball. So we're going to do that probably in like an hour, 50 minutes maybe. So if you guys love baseball, DM me on Instagram. We're going to do a best ball where you guys can compete against us all season long. So yeah, DM us on Instagram if you're interested in joining that MLB best ball tournament that we're going to do. It's not a tournament, it's a league, but you get what I'm saying. Let's look at Bradley Beal on points. Now, what I'm interested in is Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are both playing in this game. Right now, only Damian Lee is out for the Suns. Bradley Beal, his point total set at 17.5. In terms of the matchup, it's a really favorable one. 28th ranked defense against shooting guards. The Spurs are one of the worst teams in the league. This opened at 15.5 and has climbed now to 17.5. I like it at that opening mark, the 15.5. Now, you get that at minus 245, but what's interesting about that, hasn't actually been a very good trend on the road. Yeah, it's not a great trend. I could see it hitting over 15.5, but I don't love it. I will give you guys a trend that I really do like in terms of a player prop bet. It's Devin Booker. It's Devin Booker on assists. Maybe this does encourage a bit of a thought on the Bradley Beal play. But when it comes to his assist total, when Bradley Beal plays and when Kevin Durant plays, Devin Booker has been doing a good job when it comes to assists, especially if I get it at 5.5. Over 5.5, he's hit in 9 of his last 10 games on the road. You heard that correct. 10 of his last 17, so not as good there. But it's really since Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant got healthy over the last 10, 15 games. So this is one I'm actually going to put up on the big board as well. That's Devin Booker over 5.5 assists. Diego, to Lakers fans, if you all want the 60, Dallas, Kings, and Suns got to lose 3, and y'all got to win 3. Yeah, not looking great. Chase, over on the Cavs game, I avoided it, but I thought about it. I just didn't like the trends enough. Dylan, you still in Rome? Nope, I'm back on the East Coast. Yoba, do you ever do unders? Yeah, sure, when the trends allow. I will admit, I didn't see one total bet that I liked tonight. The over-unders I didn't like, at least for the NBA. I actually have one total bet that I do like for the NHL. I did take Kings and Canucks under 6. So the 2 NHL bets I have, only 2 NHL games tonight, but the 2 NHL bets that I have are Blues, Kings, Blues plus 1.5, Kings, Canucks under 6. Let me repeat that. Blues plus 1.5, Kings, Canucks under 6. Appreciate you guys being with us. If you guys have any questions, feel free to fire away. Love being with you guys every single day that we can. So make sure you guys DM us on Instagram. Again, if you guys want to join this best ball league that we're going to do for baseball, baseball is just a couple days away. So felt like it was about the time to start doing that. So make sure you guys DM me on Instagram if you want to get in on that. The Cooper movie, Dodgers versus the World, is right. I was disappointed that Shohei Ohtani didn't take questions today. Shohei Ohtani is definitely there's some shady shit going on there. There's no doubt about that. I'm really disappointed by the fact that Shohei Ohtani's mixed up in all of this. Feels like a ridiculous thing for us to have to talk about. But it may be Michael Jordan syndrome. Highly competitive person who has a massive amount of money. Our unit, our per unit total isn't going to be the same as Shohei Ohtani's. But there's just a lot about this story that just doesn't quite add up the way that we would want it to. And I feel like it's just an awful thing for baseball because Shohei Ohtani is the must-see attraction of baseball. By the way, baseball is in a great place. A lot of young talent, some teams that are going to be able to compete, especially in the American League because the Dodgers are the juggernaut of the National League, Dodgers and Braves. But it's just disappointing that we're going to be talking about Shohei Ohtani's betting situation more than the start of the regular season, and we will be. That's what's going to dominate the news over the next couple of weeks. Are you going to do MLB Fantasy this year, Diego? That's what I mean by best ball. We're going to do Rival Fantasy Best Ball for baseball. So if you guys are interested, we're going to do it. It's a full season league where we pick our teams today, and it's a set it and forget it. The season goes season obviously runs, and whoever comes out on top wins the prize. We're going to create a league. I think we're going to do, it depends on what prize we want to do. A $5 per team, a $10 per team. We'll see what people are up to. But if you guys want to join that best ball full season tournament, full season league, we're going to be doing this all the time. We're going to do it for each week. We'll do it for individual days. It's just another way for us to kind of interact and compete against each other. Rob, the one I did not like Nets on the money line, not one that I'm going with today. Not a bet that I like. I think they probably do win, but I didn't bet it myself. Someone's asking about Tobias Harris over 17.5 points. Let's take a look at that one. That'll be the next trend that we learn. The next bet that we look at is Tobias Harris over 17.5 points. This opened at 18.5, then came down to 17.5. For some reason, I'm seeing it. Okay, 17.5 is where it sits right now. On the injury report, other than Robert Covington, only player that's out. Joel Embiid, obviously. But Kelly Oubre is a game-time decision. Kai Jones, game-time decision. DeAnthony Melton is out as well. Okay. On the road, Tobias Harris hasn't been a great trend. He's only gone over this total 4 out of his last 10 games on the road. The matchup for tonight's game, it's not a great one. Oh, yeah, it is. Sorry. The Kings are 28th in points allowed to the power forward position. This is something I don't have the capability of looking at. I wish I did. Which is, I want to see how Tobias Harris is done on the second night of a back-to-back. I'm going to talk to the guys at Outlier about that because that's actually something I'd love to see. I'd love to see how he performs on a certain number of days of rest. I feel like that's really useful information. Against the Kings, it's been a good trend when he's played in Philadelphia, but not necessarily in Sacramento. I can't give the thumbs up, user 985. I can't give the thumb up of approval for this one. Great matchup, just not enough of a trend to get behind it. Kevin D, I took the alternative line of 5.5 assists, but if you want to take it at the 6.5, I actually would be okay with it. Do you like the Knicks race to 15 points first quarter against the Pistons? Sure. Caleb Fisher, Nikola Jokic under points, rebounds. Points, rebounds, steals? What's the S? B, what's good? Hope you're having a great day, B. If any of you guys do want to join that fantasy baseball league that we're going to do in probably about 40 minutes, DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram. DM me on Instagram. If you guys want to join that fantasy, again, it's a set it and forget it. So you literally set the league, let it play all season long, and then see if you win money at the end of it. You don't have to set it week by week. We're going to draft right now. It's going to go all season long. You can win money on it. Caleb Fisher, points, rebounds, and assists for Nikola Jokic. Let's take a look at it. Again, bit of a different structure for this Monday game. Wanted to answer your questions, give you guys the opportunity to focus on what you guys cared about. Let's look at Nikola Jokic. This opened at 50.5, Caleb. It's since gone down to 49.5. Injury report's really interesting on this one. Aaron Gordon's a game-time decision. Nikola Jokic is a game-time decision. Jamal Murray's a game-time decision. There's even more. Michael Porter Jr. is a game-time decision with an illness. So I really can't give you a good indication on this one because we don't know who's going to be playing and who's not. But let's just see with Michael Porter Jr. with an illness, if he's out, this isn't... I don't like it enough. Given the lack of information that we have about who's playing and who's not. Rebounds is actually his best matchup. Points is okay. Assists isn't good. But rebounds could actually be a decent play. Right now it's set at 13.5 without Michael Porter Jr. Wow, it's only hit 3 out of the last 10 times without Michael Porter Jr. How about without Aaron Gordon, who's also a game-time decision? He's gone under this total. Wow. It's not a great total. It's not a very good play. So, Nikola Jokic, maybe over 12.5 rebound. No, I just don't like it. I'm telling you, I don't like it. I'd avoid it. How's Booker for points for a parlay? No, I like the assists more. Feels like a better one. Jennifer, great to see you. Hope you're having a great one, Jennifer. B, we have a play on Pacers and Clippers. We do. I'm taking Clippers on the money line, and I actually like Clippers minus 3.5. I would take the Clippers to cover a minus 3.5 spread if you move it, but Clippers on the money line, put into some parlays. I think they bounce back from yesterday's game. Someone's asking about Denver and Memphis in terms of the total. Let's take a quick look at how the public is betting that to see if we get any indication. Wow. 59% of the tickets are on the over. 98% of the money is on the under. I think that's largely related to who's questionable for that game. Again, when it comes to the Denver Nuggets game, you might want to hold off on betting that one until you know the injury report for sure. But that said, the under does feel like a better play for that game, so keep your eye on it. Rob the one. We do like the Bulls on the money line. The Bulls on the money line is another game that we do like today. Let's quickly show you that one. Thanks so much, Jennifer. Appreciate it. So, Bulls are playing the Wizards today. Let me quickly show you what the Bulls have done. When they've been a home favorite against a team with a sub 500 record, that's what we've been focusing on as one of our new kind of search engines here. Oh, we had it in the wrong spot. So when the Bulls play a sub 500 team as a home favorite, they're actually only 8-5. But the Wizards are even worse than that. They're a sub 400 team when it comes to a winning percentage. In that scenario, the Bulls are much better. Bulls are 8-2 straight up when they play an opponent who has a sub 400 winning percentage throughout the season. They've also gone 7-3 against the spread. Maybe even more important, now, those losses did come in 2 of their last 4 games under that scenario, January 30th and February 27th. Bulls have been playing some good basketball, though, of late. As a home favorite, over the last few days, they won their last 2 after losing their previous 3. So, and one of those games was against the Wizards. I do like the Bulls to win. I'm not taking them as a cover, but I do have them winning, and I do have it in some parlays, so adding it there. Did you do college basketball picks already? No, we haven't, but that's because we're not going to do women's only because I don't have good data on it. Funny enough, I actually am going to watch the Iowa game. I'm also going to watch Indiana because I went to Indiana, and the Indiana basketball team has always been good over the last few years. But that said, I actually don't have any data behind the women's, so wish I did, but I don't. What are your picks today? Let me give out a recap of all the picks that we've given out so far, okay? For the NHL, we have 2 picks we've given out so far. Blues plus 1.5. Kings Canucks under 6. When it comes to the NBA, we have 1 player prop bet. That's Devin Booker over 5.5 assists. And as for our game picks, we have Suns on the money line. We have Celtics on the money line. We have Celtics minus 8.5, Celtics minus 9.5. We have the Clippers on the money line. We have the Clippers minus 3.5. We have the Rockets on the money line. We have the Rockets minus 9.5. Did we need to do that? Rockets, yeah, I guess. We did the Nuggets on the money line. We did the Knicks on the money line. We did the Mavericks on the money line. We did the Bulls on the money line. And I will take the Cavaliers on the money line as well, everybody. Cavaliers on the money line is another bet that we have. That actually almost covers all of them. I'm looking at my cheat sheet now. The only one we're missing, we've taken off the board. I was thinking about taking the Spurs plus 14.5. Wembanyama being out kind of impacts that a little bit. I still think they probably cover that, but I'm not going to put it up on the board. So you actually have all the bets that I have for tonight's games. So now it's just up to you guys. What bets do you like? Keegan Murray on rebounds. Let's take a look at it. Keegan Murray, checking out his rebound total. Set at 6.5. Matchup's very favorable. Hasn't been a very good trend. If you could get it over 5.5, I would take it. 6.5, I don't love it. Over 5.5 has been a very good play. Let's take a quick look at the injury report. Trey Lyles out. It's been a very good trend with Trey Lyles out. This is actually a really good play. He has gone over 5.5 rebounds in 8 of his last 10 games at home without Trey Lyles. I put this one up on the board as well, everybody. Good find here. Keegan Murray over 5.5 rebounds. Again, we're basing it on the matchup. Matchup is favorable. 29th, the 76ers are 29th in the league in rebounds allowed to power forwards. And then if we look at what the injury report offers with Trey Lyles being out, at home, this has been a very good trend. So there you go. Good find, Diego. Kings on the money line. Kings on the money line. I ended up not betting that game in terms of a side on it. I think the Kings probably win. I just don't trust it enough. I think the Kings probably win. I'm not betting that one, JT, but I think they do probably win. Someone's asking about Luka Doncic. Let's take a look at Luka Doncic's point total. Luka Doncic, his point total tonight is set at 33.5, 34.5. They're decent defense, 17th in the league in points allowed to point guards. On the road, he's only got over this 5 times in his last 10 games. Over his last 20, 11 of his last 20, but really that's kind of backloaded there. Hasn't been as good of late. Head to head, he's only gone over this total 1 time against the Utah Jazz. That was December of last year. That was at home though. On the road, this hasn't cashed the 1 time that they did play in Utah. Personally, I'd probably lean towards the under here. I'd probably take under 35.5 for Luka Doncic. I'm not crazy about it. I wouldn't bet it myself, but if you're asking me what the point total would be, I'd probably go under 32.5. If you're asking it at 32, I kind of like it at 32, maybe over 31.5. I could see that hitting. So kind of sitting in the middle there. I see him getting to 31, 32, 33. Kind of in that range right there. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown on points. Let's take a look at Jason Tatum. His point total for tonight. The matchup that he has. Favorable in terms of points. Right now his total set at 26.5. That's not the spot you want it. You want it at like 24.5. Be on the other side of the 25. He has gone over 24.5 points in 9 of his last 10 games overall, 8 of his last 10 road games. So if you are going to take Jason Tatum, take it over 24.5 points. Injury report, Drew Holiday is out. How does that impact things? He's gone over 24.5 points in 6 of his last 7 games without Drew Holiday, so I'm not too concerned about it. I still think it's a good play. How about when Jaylen Brown does play? When Jaylen Brown is in the lineup with Jason Tatum, not an issue. 8 of his last 10, he's gone over this total on the road. So this is one I'd actually put up on the board. Jason Tatum over 24.5 points. How about Jaylen Brown? Taking a look at Jaylen Brown's point total for tonight's game. Again, good matchup. His point total is set at 23.5. He's hit that in 8 of his last 10 games. How about when Drew Holiday doesn't play? Not as good a trend. He's actually only gone over this point total in 4 of his last 10 games without Drew Holiday. Now, he has hit in 3 of the last 4, so has been a decent trend of late. How about on the road? 4 of his last 6 games without Drew Holiday. Personally, I'm not crazy about Jaylen Brown over 23.5 points. I'd actually go in the other direction. Jaylen Brown under 25.5. That's what I would do. Jaylen Brown under 25.5 might be the spot to take it at. But yeah, I don't feel the same way about Jaylen Brown's point total as I do Jason Tatum's. Jaylen Brown is out and White. You might be ahead of us on the injury report. I'm only seeing Drew Holiday. I'm seeing Derek White is out. That's actually really interesting. Let's go back to that information really quick. Jason Tatum on his point total when there's no Drew Holiday and there's no Derek White. How is he done? Interesting. He hasn't played a game all year without Drew Holiday and without Derek White. Games without Derek White, he's only played 5 games this year without Derek White. He's gone over 24.5 points in 4 of them, and the 1 game he missed, he had 24 points. So Jason Tatum over 23.5 points, Jason Tatum over 24.5 points. I love, 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 love that. That's a great play. Thanks for letting us know that we had an update to the injury report. But Jason Tatum over 23.5 points, over 24.5 points, feels like a very strong play. Interesting that he hasn't played a game without either. Wow, that's really interesting. Let's go back to Jaylen Brown for a second. So Jaylen Brown. I'm not seeing him on the injury report just yet. Jaylen Brown cut his hand or something? He's out? That would be, wow. Load up on Jason Tatum while you can, folks. That's what I would say. Someone's asking about Jalen Brunson on points. By the way, guys, again, if you're interested in doing some fantasy baseball, DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. Diego, hit me up. We're going to be doing some fantasy baseball in a little bit, Diego. So hit me up. More than happy to share that with you. Oops. Let's get over to Jalen Brunson points. Just pull up points. So the matchup that he has is a favorable one against the Pistons. He's hit the over in his last 2 games. It's set at 29.5. That feels really high. It opened at 29.5, went up to 30.5, has since come down back to 29.5. At home, I mean, he's consistently getting over 25.5. I think Jalen Brunson could get to 28. That's kind of where I'd sit it at. Over 27.5. I feel like he gets to 28 points. He hasn't gone over that total, though, in 5 straight games at home. I don't like it enough to bet it myself, so I'd just be wary of it. I'd bet the over 27.5 if you asked me, but I'd be wary of it. Appreciate you guys being with us. Do you prefer Jaden Daniels or Drake May? Personally, I prefer Jaden Daniels. That's where I come out on it. If you guys do want to do the best ball, fantasy baseball, season-long fantasy baseball, DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. We're going to do that in just a little bit. So make sure you guys hit me up. We're going to do a full season, best ball. We'll do it with as many people as want to join. So I'll create it once we know who's going to be in it. Let's see if we can get... We'll just do a $10 league. We'll do it for 6 people. Create and join. I put the $10 up. And I'm just going to share it. So Diego, let me know if you want to get in on this. We're going to do that. Oh. Wrong link. I sent you the wrong thing. Sorry, Diego. Hold on one second. Copied. Okay. And then we'll send this to Diego. There you go, Diego. Rival Fantasy. Carter, you want to do the best ball? There you go. So if any guys want to do this fantasy baseball, the season-long fantasy baseball, again, there'll be some money in it. So I open the draft room. Fantasy baseball. It's 20 rounds. It's going to be for 6 people, including myself. So I believe we already have 2 more people who are going to join. So we just need 3 more people, and then we'll draft. Capella on rebounds. Capella on rebounds. Let's take a look at it. Clint Capella. We'll do rebounds. Oh. So it's set at 9.5, 10. It's kind of splitting it right there. Wow. Brutal matchup. He is facing the best defense in the NBA against the center position. I know he's been very hot going over 9.5, but I actually like the under 10.5, I think. Under 10.5 feels like a slightly better play in some ways. That's what I would do. Clint Capella under 10.5 if I had to go in some direction. Rowdy, I'm wanting to do a Vampire Fantasy Football League, but I don't know which app I can do it on. What's Vampire Fantasy Football? What's that? By the way, Sean, I'm still not seeing anything on the Jaylen Brown injury as well, so we'll have to make sure that we're getting accurate information on that. Rich, what's up? Rich just DM'd me on Instagram. He wants to get in on the fantasy baseball. So if any of you guys want to do that, Rich, what's good? Thanks for subscribing, Rich. DM me on Instagram if you guys want to get on this fantasy baseball. Again, once we get everybody loaded in, we're going to do a draft. And again, it's a set it and forget it, which I kind of like, which is you don't have to manage it every day or every week. We're just going to, draft and then let it go all season long. So you kind of got to know what you're doing to start. But after that, it just kind of takes care of itself. Appreciate you guys being joining us. I do have my picks up on the board, so if you guys are watching on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, or on X, you can see those up on your screen right now. Oh, no you can't, because I've had the social media thing on the whole damn time. Brutal, brutal. Bad production on my part. What's good, Rich? Yeah, if you guys, I've been showing you guys my screen, I thought the whole time, but in reality, no, it was a total fail. So anyways, Carter Newman did not receive the link. There you go, Carter Newman. I hope you got it now. So Diego, Carter, Rich, you guys are up for it. Again, a recap of our picks is up on the board right now if you're watching over on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick. And we'll do some fantasy baseball in a little bit. Rowdy, it's where the vampire isn't included in the draft. They have to pick their players from the waivers. Ooh, that's interesting. Tough. Jay Dillard, been having a hard time finding your pick on Sharps for the day. I didn't put my pick on Sharps yesterday. It didn't come up. It didn't generate. So that said, I'll make sure it's loaded up for today. Don't worry. Which NHL pick did you like more? Probably the Blues plus 1.5. I like them both. The two NHL picks that I have today are Blues plus 1.5 and Kings Canucks under 6. Again, if any of you guys want to join this fantasy baseball league, it is a best ball league, so all you guys have to do is draft, set it, and forget it. You guys can do that. Diego, let me know how you're getting by. Carter, let me know how you're doing. Want to make sure this works for everybody because I want to do a lot of drafts with you guys. Fantasy football drafts, obviously baseball drafts, NBA for the playoffs. I'd actually like to do that as well. Won't let me join stream on anything else. Can you post on Sharp so I can see pics or just tell me? Yeah, Caleb, here's a recap of my picks, buddy. By the way, I'm going to post this on Instagram as well. So I have Blues plus 1.5, Kings Canucks under 6, Suns on the money line, Celtics money line, Celtics minus 8.5, minus 9.5, Clippers on the money line, Clippers minus 3.5, Rockets on the money line, Rockets minus 9.5, Nuggets on the money line, Knicks on the money line, Mavericks on the money line, Bulls on the money line, and Cavaliers on the money line. We also have 3 player prop bets on the board so far. Devin Booker over 5.5 assists, Keegan Murray over 5.5 rebounds, and Jason Tatum over 24.5 or over 23.5 points. If I had to go somewhere for Kings Sixers, I'd go Kings money line, but I'm not going to bet that one. I just didn't like it enough. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up. If you guys want to join this fantasy baseball league, season-long league, it's a set it and forget it best ball. So all you got to do is draft with us today and let the season just play itself out. No problem, Caleb. Joe, Nikola Vucevic on points. We didn't love it. We didn't love the opportunity. And in part what we were saying was we have to wait for the injury report to be finalized in that game. A lot of people are questionable or game time decisions. So that was one of the reasons we were a little bit cautious to bet that one right now. The moment that we have a good indication of who's actually going to be healthy and who's not, that may be the time we want to place our bets. But for now, Jamal Murray's a game-time decision, Aaron Gordon's a game-time decision, and Michael Porter Jr. is a game-time decision. So we're holding off on Nikola Jokic for now until we get a better indication of who is actually going to be in the lineup. Appreciate you guys watching the show no matter the platform, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Twitter X, whatever it may be. Hopefully we're live across all these platforms for you guys as often as possible. Really appreciate you guys being with us. Hit that follow button if you are new to the show. That way you never miss an episode. Let me get the picks back up here in case anybody has questions on those. We try to be live at around 4:30, 5 o'clock each day. That's when I'm not traveling, and it's not like the tournament where obviously we want to be watching games. So if any of you guys want to get in on anything that we do any day of the week, just hit me up. Love being able to talk sports with you guys. If you want to do this Rival Fantasy Best Ball MLB League, DM me right now. If you guys want to do a fantasy baseball season-long Best Ball League, DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports, DM me on Instagram. Let's load it up, 6 teams, and let's get drafting. You know if ESPN is going to show Ohtani's statement? I don't know, actually. I am kind of curious to know what they're going to do. So, I don't know if they already did. Didn't it happen already? No? Was that 2:45 East Coast time or West Coast time? All I heard is he wasn't taking questions, so I just assumed it was going to be kind of a nonsense bullshit, not tell the truth kind of situation. How about them Hawks? How about those Celtics? I think the Celtics are going to have a good game, even with some of the players on the injury report. Again, no Drew Holiday, no Derek White. I'm still not seeing anything about Jaylen Brown, so people were talking about Jaylen Brown earlier, but oh, it's West Coast. Gotcha. Yeah, George, I was so disappointed. Look, Ohtani could... There are going to be questions about this. They can either chase him around for the coming weeks of the season, or he can address them now. What makes me think he doesn't have a lot of good answers, and it makes me actually think he's more guilty, is that he's not answering questions. I hate to put things in that kind of context, but if you're not willing to answer questions, what does that kind of tell me about your willingness to address some of the concerns about what's going on? Cavs and Hornets. I like the Cavaliers on the money line. You want to play some fantasy baseball with us to win money? DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram. DM me on Instagram to play Rival Fantasy. We'll get in on a league once we fill it up. And if not, we'll do it off the air. We have about 15 minutes left of the show. If you guys have any questions, comments, if there are any bets that you guys want us to focus on. So, yeah. I did want to rant, actually, about one thing involving the NCAA tournament. I thought about putting out a rant video behind it, but I didn't. Before I get into it, Jerome, the hockey picks for tonight are the Blues plus 1.5 and Kings Canucks under 6. Blues, I could see actually winning the game, so Blues money line if you're willing to take the risk. But I like Blues plus 1.5, Kings Canucks under 6. Just, again, the quick thought about the NCAA tournament. A lot of people were disappointed in the first couple of rounds, and I certainly was. But this is my go-to rallying cry about the men's tournament specifically. The committee does a bad job. And what I mean by that is, it's not that they do a bad job in how they go about their business, it's that they do their business in the wrong way. The committee, rather than ranking the teams 1 through 64 and then tiering them out accordingly, they obviously kind of rigged the bracket to see matchups. You get certain storylines. A coach who left the program is now playing them again. Should that actually happen, or did they force it? 2 blue bloods meet in the second round of the tournament. Is that really supposed to happen, or should that have actually happened maybe later on? I think that the committee every year creates a bracket that's based not on what the best teams are, but on what they want the TV ratings to be. They want the TV ratings to deliver, and I think there are times where they are unfair to programs and they're unfair to the college basketball fan base by forcing certain matchups, thank you, Jennifer, for forcing certain matchups that actually shouldn't take place. Do I think that the committee went, the Dukes could play the Dukies or Duke? Yes, I think they did. I think they forced UNC Michigan State because they wanted to see those two schools go at it. They wanted to see Rick Barnes go against Texas. They forced certain matchups. Do I think they forced San Diego State into the same bracket, part of the bracket as UConn, to make it a rematch of last year? Yes. Now, Upsets could happen, but in a year such as this, where there was such diversity across the sport, there weren't those powerhouse programs. I thought that the matchups could have been much more fair. I thought that there could have been way more upsets. You could have had chaos, and instead you were getting the ultimate exercise in chalk and favorites winning. I thought it was boring, to be honest with you. We had a couple great games. If you're a member of the betting public, I'm sure you loved it. I'm sure you made money on it. So I'm not talking about those public bettors who bet the favorites. I know I did. But I was just disappointed by the fact that the committee forced certain matchups that shouldn't have happened. And it makes the tournament less. And now some people are coming out. A lot of people in the college basketball community, in sports media, are coming out. Well, if you were disappointed by the first 2 rounds, you're going to love the Sweet 16 because now we've got some juggernaut games. Well, sometimes a Cinderella story, even getting pummeled in the Elite Eight, is worth it because you get 3 games of Cinderella. So that's my take on it. I'm disappointed by the tournament. I said this before the tournament started. I say it now. I'm actually more interested in the women's tournament from the Sweet 16 on, from the Elite 8 on, than I am about the men's. I think the men's tournament's going to be fun. I think the women's tournament has more star power. I'm actually more excited about that. I know that's probably a hot take for a lot of people out there because the men's tournament is the holy grail of college sports in some ways, but the women's tournament has certainly caught up this year. Deadpool, great to see you. Thoughts on the hip drop tackle being banned? On one hand, I think dropping your full weight onto a player's leg and hip in such a dangerous way can create injuries. I also asked the offensive community of the NFL, what's a defender supposed to do? When Rob Gronkowski, when Derrick Henry, when Frank Gore, when some of these manimals, when Marshawn Lynch, when Travis Kelce, when some of these great players are coming at you full speed, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to take them to the ground when they are literally dragging you? What are defenders supposed to do? The NFL right now, the rules are based purely on offensive production. Ironically, offenses maybe took a step back last year because of quarterback injuries. But that said, I don't know what to think about this one. I understand that it's a safety precaution, but at the same time, I didn't think we needed it banned. I think this is kind of an overreaction to last year kind of being every year there's like a injury that's kind of like the hot injury. I hate putting it that way, but it's like the trendy injury. And I felt like last year we saw a lot of these hip drop tackle injury results. So I think it's an overreaction by the league. I actually saw a great point earlier today on the Pat McAfee show by one of the guests that they had that's like, how do you practice calling this? You're not going to see it in training camp. You're probably not going to see it that often in preseason because it is an aggressive kind of play. It's only going to be really understood in live action during the regular season. And I think people are going to overreact to it. And I think referees are going to overreact to it. Anytime the NFL creates a rule or emphasizes a rule, you know that rule is going to be called an excessive amount. So just expect this one to be a popular call in next year's season. So kind of disappointed, but we'll have to see. If any of you guys want to join this fantasy baseball best ball league, DM me on Instagram now. ButtFumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. We're going to do a best ball tournament for all those that want to join. Again, it's season long, so if any of you guys want to join it, that's a best ball tournament for baseball, ButtFumble Sports. We also there's some mock drafts that we're going to be doing soon for the NFL, so if any of you guys want to get in on it, DM me on Instagram. Get into the action. ButtFumble Sports. Again, this is a full season league for best ball tournament. If any of you guys want to join, DM me on Instagram right now. That's ButtFumble Sports on Instagram to get in on it. What are my NBA plays of the day? They are Suns on the money line, Celtics on the money line, Celtics minus 8.5, Clippers on the money line, Clippers minus 3.5, Rockets on the money line, Rockets minus 9.5, Nuggets on the money line. Knicks on the money line. Mavericks on the money line. Bulls on the money line, and the Cavaliers on the money line. I also like Devin Booker over 5.5 assists, Keegan Murray over 5.5 rebounds, and Jason Tatum over 24.5 points or over 23.5 points. Appreciate you guys being with us today. It's been a fun show. We've been live for about an hour and a half. If you guys want any of the picks, I'm about to post all of them. You can find them on the SHARPZ app, or you can check them out on Instagram. We're about to post all of them. Appreciate you guys joining the show today. Hope you guys join us again tomorrow. We'll probably be live around 4:30, 5 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you guys are with us. So excited to be with you guys as often as we possibly can. I'll catch you guys a little bit later. Until then, goodbye and have a great night, everybody.